Okay, hello first graders. Today we're looking at lesson 6-8. They're going to be asking us to look for and to use structure. We'll talk more about that as we go. That's going to be found on page 479. So if you can please take out your books and pencils. I'm going to share my workspace with you here. Here we go, lesson 6-8. Page number is 479, and we see both Marta and Daniel on this page with a tens and ones chart. So I'm going to go ahead and read, and you can follow in your book. Barry showed the number 42 with cubes. What are some of the ways he could have shown 42? Write the tens and ones to show the ways. Describe any pattern you see in the table. Okay, so we know that he's using Unifix cubes, right? And we know that he needs to represent the number 42. What I'm going to do here at the top is write the number 42 here, okay? Oh, not a very good two, there we go. And when we look at the number 42, I see I have a 4 in the tens place, and I have a 2 in the ones place. So one way that he could have used Unifix cubes to represent this number is by putting 4 tens, 1, 2, 3, 4, right, and 2 ones, 1, 2. Okay, but let's say, for example, that he didn't have 4 rods, but he had many, many ones. Another way that he could have represented 42 then is by using the rods he had. Let's say he had 3 rods. 1, 2, 3. And that was all the rods he had. So he could take 10 of his ones, right? And then the 2 more and put those out to make 42 as well. That would look like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Now, does that also equal 42? Right, let's think about it. 10, 20, 30, right? Plus another 10 equals 40, 41, 42. Okay, it does equal 42. What if he only had 2 rods? Could we represent it by putting 2 rods here and putting one group of 10, another group of 10, and 2 more? Let's try it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's 1, right? I'm going to circle them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm going to circle them. And then 1, 2. Okay, so before we had no ones that we needed to make 10 out of. The second time we had 1 10 that we needed to use for our ones. This time we're doing 2 10s because we only have 2 rods. So let's count that up. 10, 20, 30, 40, 41, 42. Okay, that still equals 42. All right, so what if we only had 1 rod? We only have 1 rod. Could we use ones to add what we needed to make 42? Let's see. So this time I'm going to do 3 sets of 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's one group of 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's another group of 10 in ones. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's another group of 10 in ones. And then I'm going to add those 2. 1, 2. Okay, so now I have 1 rod So I'm going to count here 10, and then the rest I'm going to scoop up by tens also. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 41, 42. Okay, we were still able to make 42. All right, what if we had no rods? What do you guys think? Could we use all ones to represent 42? Could we do that? Let's try. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's one group of 10 ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's a second group of 10 ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's a third group of 10 ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's a fourth group of 10 ones. And then I still need those two, don't I? 1, 2. Okay, let's try counting by groups. I have 10 ones here, 20, 30, 40, 41, 42. Look at that, 42 ones. Now, we used base 10 blocks the way they instructed us to, but what if we replace those with just numbers? That would be a lot easier to represent, right? So another way of thinking about this would be if I had 4 tens, put it here, if I had 4 tens, then I would need 2 ones to make 42. If I had 3 tens, then I would need 10, 11, 12 ones to make 42. If I had 2 tens, then I would need 10, 20, 21, 22. 22 ones to make 42. If I had 1 rod, then how many would I need? 10, 20, 30, 31, 32. I would need 32 ones to make 42. And if I had 0 rods, in order to make the 42, I would need 42 ones. Okay. All right, so I'm noticing that as my tens get smaller, my ones are getting bigger. Did you notice that? Okay, good. Just kind of take a moment to notice that. 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. And here I have 2, 12, 22, 32, 42. I'm noticing these are getting bigger, these are getting smaller. I'm also noticing that my ones don't change at all, right? Each time I had those 2 additional cubes, so that didn't change at all. I'm also noticing that my ones are getting bigger by 10 each time, from 2 to 12 to 22 to 32 to 42. Okay, so those are just some patterns that I'm noticing. All right, let's go ahead, and if you need more time on this, you can pause it, but we're going to look at the next page, and Daniel's going to give us another example, this time using the number 38. So he says, how many ways can you show the number 38 with the tens and ones? Okay, so we know that 38, if I put it into a bond, is 30 and 8, right? Okay, so here's his tens and ones chart. And that's what we're going to start with. We're going to start with 3 tens because it's the 3 stands for 30, and we're going to start with 8 ones because the 8 stands for 8. So if you can see here in his tens and ones chart, he puts 3 tens and 8 ones. Okay, but what if, much like we did on the first example, he only had 2 tens, right? Then how many ones would he need? He would need 8, and he would take that 10 and put it over here. So he would have 18 ones. And what if he only had 1 10? Then he would have to add another 10 over here to his ones, right? So that would change to 28. And if he had 0 tens, he would need to add yet another 10 to the one side, which would be 38. Okay, so it tells us up here the answers all show ways to make 38 with the tens and ones. Okay, so I'm just gonna, remind us we're looking at 38 here. All right, let's see what Daniel says to sum this up. He says, I see a pattern in the table. As the number of tens goes down by 1, right? 3, 2, 1, 0. The number of ones goes up by 10, 8, 18, 28, 38. This helps me check my answers. Okay, so as long as you're noticing that it's following that same pattern, then it helps you to check your answers. If there's something that's off of that pattern, then that's a clue that you need to go back and check that. Okay, so let's check the guided practice. It's asking us to make a list to solve. You can use cubes to help you. And for us, cubes would be using our whiteboards and our markers to draw it out, right? Talk to a partner about patterns you see in your list. Okay, we're going to talk together as we go. So number 1, Carly lists all the ways to show 25 as tens and ones. What way does she list, or what ways does she list? So she begins, again, she's representing the number 25. I'm going to put that at the top. So she starts with 2 tens, okay, and 5 ones. All right, now we're going to take away a 10. We're going to pretend we only have 1 10, or 1 rod. In that case, we would need to add another 10 to the ones. So now we would have, instead of 5, 15. Okay, and finally, what if we didn't have any 10s? Then how many ones would we need? Yep, we would need 25. Okay, so we're noticing that same pattern. As the 10s go down by 1, 2, 1, 0, the ones go up by 10, 5, 15, 25. All right, let's take a look at number 2. Andy wants to show 31 as tens and ones. What are all the ways? Okay, so we're going to start again. We know we're representing 31. So we're going to start with 3 tens and 1 1. Okay, now we're going to decrease this by 1. So instead of 3, we're going to have 2. And once we do that, we have to increase this side by 10. So instead of 1, I have 11. Okay, and that pattern will continue. This time instead of 2, I have 1. This time instead of 11, I have 21. And finally, what if I have 0 tens? Then over here, I need 31 ones. So my pattern continues. I go decrease by 1, 3, 2, 1, 0. Decrease by 1 on my 10 side. And on my 1 side, I'm increasing by 10. 1, 11, 21, 31. Okay? All right, so that is what you are going to try on your own today for independent practice. It's asking you to make a list to solve. You can use cubes to help. And again, that would be our whiteboard and our marker. If you would like to draw out the base 10 blocks the way we did in the first example. Okay? All right, so number 3, you're going to be representing the number 46. That's the number that you're going to use for the chart. And for number 4, you're going to be representing 33. Okay? All right, and then number 5 is higher order thinking. Let's just read this together. Dana says there are 4 ways to show 25 using tens and ones. Is she right? How do you know? Okay, well, let's try this one together. So she's trying to represent 25, and she says that there are 4 ways to show that. Let's use this space right here to test her answer. So I know I'm representing the number 25, right? And so I'm just going to draw a chart. Tens here, ones here, and I'm going to put a line going down. There we go. So if I have 2 tens to begin with, I would have 5 ones, right? But what if I only had 1 10? Then I would need 15 ones. What if I had 0 tens? Then I would need 25 ones. Okay, so the question is, now I can't get any lower than 0, right? So I've decreased by 1 each time on the tens, 2, 1, 0. And I've increased each time on the ones by 10, 5, 10, or 15, 25. Okay, so the question is, can you show 4 ways to represent 25? You can't, right? There are 1, 2, 3 ways to show. So is she right? No, unfortunately not, right? How do you know? Because the chart shows us that we have 3 ways to represent 25. Okay, guys, so you're going to go ahead and go back and complete numbers 3 and 4. As you're going, you're going to want to kind of keep an eye out for patterns that you notice in your tens place. You should be decreasing each time by 1. In your ones place, you should be increasing, getting bigger each time by 10. See how it goes. This is our first time with it, so if it feels a little challenging at first, it's okay. Just stick with it, and we'll talk about it more in our Google Meets, okay? All right, guys. Hope you have a great rest of the day, and I'll see you real soon. Bye.